am with a growing but not fully mature mustard cover crop. We're going to wait until this cover crop gets about yay high, and then we're going to what I call drop and chop and turn it into the soil. It's a cover crop. It is covering and protecting the soil, and then as we chop it down and turn it into the soil, it then transitions to being called a green manure. You have the nutrients and the structure of the plants that is in the soil, is decomposed by microbes, and improves both nutrient availability and the physical nature of the soil. And it's pretty simple. I take a somewhat sharp machete and I move in and I chop. I'm just chopping at the base, moving across the bed. I'm not being totally detailed. There can be a little stubble. It's all right. So I dropped it, and now I'm going to chop it. I'm going to break up the particle size, reduce the particle size, and it's based on a principle: the smaller the particle size of any plant material, the greater the surface area, the more the microbes can get on it, the more effectively they can and quickly they can decompose it. Another thing about chopping up plants prior to turning them in is plants have a waxy exterior to protect them from the environment. When you chop it up, you expose the softer inner substrate, and it is, as the scientists say, a substrate more amenable to microbial decomposition. So all you're doing is just making this food stuff, energy source, the green material, more quote-unquote palatable, easier to digest enzymatically by the microbes. So I'll do that, and it is with some mild trepidation that I'm going to flip this green material into the soil. And I say with some mild trepidation because in truth, because we got this rain over the last week and the soil's a little wet, but we're here. And so let me just demonstrate. So this is just a prelude. We'll wait till it gets about this tall, 10 days, 2 weeks. We'll come with machetes, knock it down, drop and chop on the surface. And then we'll just come along with spades and just kind of gently flip it into the soil. This is not going to get 100% of the material into the soil, but it gets a good 80%. And then we'll cap it off with a light straw mulch that will protect the surface exposed green material and also cushion the soil so it's not bare and exposed to future rains. So let me just do another swath here, but I'll just move across and flip it. This is just a light surface application. On a field scale, there are beautiful tools, a disc principally, that will do this for you. So if this were a field, we would come along with a tool called a flail mower, which would take this green material and turn it into little minuscule particles on the surface. We come along with either a disc or a spader and flip it into the soil. Here on the garden scale, this is what we do. And again, the critical thing is we want a surface application of this, incorporation of this, because the surface soils are higher in oxygen, which fuels the microbes. And then we want to make sure we come afterwards and mulch it off to protect the bare soil. As I said previously, we will then sow immediately another cover crop, probably this very same mustard, into the mulch. It'll small seeded cover crop, it'll just kind of penetrate into the mulch and we won't have to worry about covering it. And we hope that the future fall winter rains will bring up, irrigate up the mustard. We'll grow a second cover crop here. We'll come here in January, February, maybe it's this tall. Rinse and repeat, drop and chop, flip it in, mulch it off, wait till the soil warms up, maybe April, May, and we'll in all probability plant a really sweet set of beds of sweet peppers here, grow on for the next season. So that's a little overview of how to handle cover crops and green manures on a garden scale. Let me just add that it's really important, whatever cover crop you're growing, is to get it early. The cover crop may get this tall. As it matures, there's quite a bit of biomass, and it becomes woodier, more carbonaceous, particularly at the base, and it's much more difficult to deal with on a hand scale. So with garden scale green manuring of cover crops, you want to get it when it's young, nitrogenous, succulent, makes it easier to turn into the soil.